The Colts in Cleveland this weekend, but before we launch into week 5, Philip, I want to look at those first 4 games of the season because after the week 1 loss, you've ripped off 3 consecutive victories. What was the catalyst between weeks 1 and 2 that now has you guys sitting at 3-1 going into week 5?
Yeah, all in all, I think, it ended up with a good first quarter of the season. Certainly would have preferred to have won them all, but we did bounce back and get those 3 in a row. I think the biggest thing, obviously our defense is playing unbelievable. I think offensively the biggest thing is we've cleaned up some of those mistakes that really hurt us in that week 1 game. We moved the ball great in that week 1 game, but the turnovers and the penalties and the red zone killed us, which we've stayed away from for the most part the last 3 weeks. So that's been positive. We've ended every possession with a kick, as we like to say, either a punt, a field goal, or an extra point. So if we can continue to do that, the way our defense is playing, be a little more efficient in the red area, we can keep this thing going.
Offensively, no Anthony Costanzo this week, and I know the continuity on that offensive line was really something that drew you to Indianapolis. That streak of 22 consecutive starts comes to an end this week for those 5 guys, and certainly difficult to replace a left tackle who started 10 seasons in the NFL. But Coach Wright pointed to how strong of a training camp LaRaven Clark had. What have you seen in your time with LaRaven, especially being that he came in at the end of that Chicago win, played with him all this week, and this isn't something that popped up suddenly as a last-minute change for your offense?
Yeah, no, certainly Anthony's a heck of a tackle. Obviously, in that group, the cohesiveness is unbelievable. And you mentioned the 22 in a row, but Raven had a heck of a training camp. It's a first for me with all these guys, but it sounds like he had his best camp yet. And certainly, I thought he had a heck of a training camp. I thought, even though those 5 guys have been together a long time, Coach Strauss and those guys, the O-line coaches and the staff, did a nice job of moving guys around and moving in. So he got quite a bit of reps there in training camp at really both tackle spots, and we're able to kind of give some different configurations, so those guys are ready to roll in a time like this. So we have a great deal of confidence in him and all those guys. They'll do a heck of a job. I know Rave's he's had a good week of practice, and he's prepared and ready to go.
And looking at the Browns defense, I was reading about Myles Garrett, and one of the articles in particular called him lethal. He leads the NFL in sacks. He certainly has that game-wrecking ability, but you have some imposing playmakers on your defense as well. Certainly different types of talents, but spending the last 2 months going up against guys like DeForest Buckner and Justin Houston, who have been really effective in getting to the quarterback, how are you able to use those guys in preparation for what Myles Garrett and that Browns defense will try to do?
Yeah, obviously it's the NFL, so I know a lot of it goes without saying that it's a lot of good versus good during training camp, but we have that to an extreme level, So I think we had a very competitive training camp, and you mentioned those 2 guys and our whole defensive front and defense. So and then we got a heck of a group, offensive line and our offensive playmakers as well. So I think that every day, certainly kind of molds you and sharpen one another for when you get in the season and go against other great players. So, we had a great player last week in Khalil Mack. We saw what he did in the Thursday night game, kind of wrecked that game in a lot of ways. And so we neutralized him to a degree. Again, he made some plays, but we're able to not let him wreck the game. So similar approach this week with Myles Garrett and that defense. Obviously, they've been, they've gotten a bunch of takeaways and are off to a good start as well. So I think it'll be a heck of a game, heck of a challenge for us, but one that we feel up for, prepared for, and looking forward to.
This offense, your Colts offense, certainly prides itself on being disciplined. Going against a Browns defense that leads the league in takeaways, how disciplined do you have to be going up against Cleveland?
Yeah, definitely very disciplined. Continue to take care of the football. I don't know that you can emphasize it any more than we do throughout the week. Not in a negative way, but just very positive reinforcement all the time. It's about the football. And again, something since other than week 1, we've done a heck of a job. I've done a better job of protecting the football, and so that'll be key this week. And again, obviously talk about situational football, and we were better in third down last week. We need to continue to improve in the red zone and finish with touchdowns instead of field goals. But we'll see how the game's going, right? And you kind of play as the situation lends itself. As far as I feel like I'm asked every week about, in some games are you more aggressive than others, and the answer is yes. I mean, you kind of see how it's going, and certainly I'm not going to shy away from helping and all of us making plays that can help us win the game. But there's certain games. Last week was one of them where it was the way our D's playing. As long as we don't do anything stupid, we're going to win the game. So I think sometimes you do play it that way, and we have a team that is smart and that understands that. Frank and the staff do a heck of a job of talking us through those situations, showing us video throughout the each week from teams around the league. So I think we have not only do we have a lot of other attributes of a really good football team, we're a smart football team and collectively. And I think week in and week out, there's things that come up that we need to display that in order for us to get the job done.
You've been saying it all week. Just score one more point than the other team. We don't have to overcomplicate it. Hey, another week on the road, another late afternoon kickoff. Enjoy the extra rest. We'll see you out there on Sunday.
All right. Thank you.